There's a huge inventory reduction sale going on right now at Carpets Unlimited and Crandall's Home Furnishings. Buy one and get the second furniture item 10% off. Third item 15% off. Fourth item 20% off. And at Carpets Unlimited, Berber carpet $1.39 a square foot installed with pad. Saxony Stainmaster carpet $1.99 a square foot installed with pad. 18-inch ceramic tiles starting 89 cents a square foot. Laminate 99 cents a square foot. Come in today for the best selection. Crandall's Home Furnishings and Carpets Unlimited in Owensboro. See store for details.
Game this past weekend that pitted two teams from our area against each other was Ohio County going into Hallsville to play Hancock County. We talked about what an important game this was for both teams for various reasons for both teams. And unfortunately for the Eagles, the losing streak extends to 21 games. The Hornets win 58-22, and we're going to take a look at some highlights from that contest. I didn't feel like Ohio County was going to be able to come in and win this game, but I was expecting them to put up a little bit better fight than what they did.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I think that that's exactly what I expected, Scott, as well. I mentioned in our last show that I felt like Hancock County, after that 34-0 loss at Grayson, was really going to come back focused with a solid intention to show that they were a better team, and they certainly did that, putting 58 points on the board. You know, Ohio County, I think, is maybe in a sense a lot like Daviess right now. I think you just have to do a little soul searching. I mean, you know, look, it's a long season. Do the wheels come off really early, or are we gonna bolt these things back on tight and go out and give a really good effort this coming week? I mean, you know, Ohio County just was not efficient. They turned the ball over 4 straight times at one point. You can't do that. I mean, no matter who you play, you just can't do that. And this, on paper, looked to be a good matchup. You know, we talked about Ohio defeated Hancock in Hallsville 2 years ago and then barely lost last year. But no, this one turned out to be a runaway for the Hornets. And, you know, it's just we'll just have to wait and see on Ohio.
Well, Hancock has a lot of weapons. And, you know, now Grayson somehow did a good job of shutting all that down in the first game. But they have so many weapons that for most teams, it's going to create huge defensive problems. Eric Doyle rushes for 4 touchdowns and 113 yards. Dylan Hubbard rushes for 91 yards. Chance Hamilton rushes for 79. Justin Hamilton rushes for 66. You know, they didn't even need a passing game. Matt Rapp threw for minimal yards simply because they didn't need many yards. Yeah. But here's my thing. Hancock's going to be fine. Let me say that right now. I don't think there's any question. Hancock looks like they're at least as good as last year and maybe better, and last year was a nice year for them. Here's the thing, Ohio County. Ohio County is in a real situation now where I feel like their season is going to be made here in the next couple of weeks. It depends on what they do in the next couple of weeks. But my thing is, I know people in Ohio County are going to get down on Todd Houston. That's natural when your team's lost 21 straight games, you know. But Todd's, you know, there's no question he's working hard. There's no question the kids are working hard. You know, there was no question they were out there still fighting constantly. And that impressed me as much as anything. And you know, I hope Ohio County kids and the fans of the program and everybody else just sticks with it, keep believing, because that's the only way it's going to turn around.
That's right.
Is if you keep believing. If you know, if you quit believing, you know, nothing's going to happen good. I can guarantee you.
Well, that's right. And Todd Houston is the coach of the Ohio County Eagles this year, and you have to, you know, it's one of those situations where, you know, you just have to go back to work. I mean, basically, I don't think it's an effort thing. I think it's an efficiency thing. I think when you turn the ball over that many times, you've just got to take care of it more. And I think that, you know, the fans, I know they're impatient at this point, but still, patience is virtue, and I think that that's what they have to be, is patient for this program to turn around.
Yeah. Next game we're going to talk about was McLean County going to Todd County Central. You know, this was a game, again, that on paper it shaped up as maybe a game that could go either way. McLean coming off the big loss to Catholic. Todd got a real boost of momentum with the win at Hart County. So, they, you know, 25-0, Todd beats McLean. You know, I see that as a positive for McLean because, one, Elkton's a tough place to play when Todd's decent. And, 25 points, you certainly didn't get ran over. Do you see that as a step in the right direction for McLean?
Actually, I do. I agree with you on that because I think that, 25 points, you can manage that. I mean, that's one of those things where you were in the game probably most of the way in the sense that you weren't completely blown out. It was, competitive where if you maybe got a couple of quick scores, you could get back in it. Yeah, I think it was a positive for McLean County in that sense. And also, I think just the nature of the way this game played out. I think they had several drives stall inside of
three stall inside Todd's 30.
Yeah, I think that the fact that they were actually moving the football and threatening to score is a good, it is a positive for this Cougar program that is truly rebuilding. It's rebuilding from the coaching staff angle and it's rebuilding from the player angle. I mean, this is a program that's really basically kind of starting from scratch again. And yes, to go on the road and play Todd like that, it looks like Todd's a pretty good team too.
Yeah, I think
let's give them credit. I think McLean has hope, and that's what you want is hope.
The only thing that stood out to me was McLean was 0 for 4 passing. Ohio went through this last year where they never could establish a passing game. In this day and age, even at the high school level, and unless you just have an unbelievable running game, you have to be able to throw the ball to some extent. Yeah. So 0 for 4, let's at least try to get that 3 of 8 or something, just to show that you can do it.
You got to have some balance.
You got to have some
balance.
Last game we're going to talk about is McLean County, Grayson County. Grayson County was coming off the big win over Hancock County.
Muhlenberg, Grayson. Yep.
Muhlenberg coming off the loss to Apollo. I think you thought this one was going to be fairly close. I didn't so much think it was going to be that close. Winds up being Grayson 48-0. I think it's time to just say Grayson could be a really, really good team.
Well, Grayson 34-0, 48-0 against two pretty good teams. I mean, these are not, this isn't chopped liver here. These are two pretty good teams, and yeah, frankly, I did think Muhlenberg County would play much better. I had seen them play better in the second half, particularly the fourth quarter against Apollo when they put up 26 points. Thought they had a little momentum there. Turns out, it turned out to be a disaster. I mean, Coach Staples would tell you that. 8 turnovers, 8. I mean, good football teams can't do that, and I do think that they're a much better team than one that makes 8 turnovers. But you make 8 turnovers against a good team, and you really pay for it, and the result was 48-0.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
8 turnovers, I don't care. You could be great in every other aspect and have 8 turnovers, you're going to lose virtually every time.
Yes.
But Ed Smart at Grayson County absolutely looks like he's got the Cougars primed for another strong year.
Yeah, and that's really impressive, too, because they lost a lot to graduation. They went 9-1 last year. A lot of times, as we've talked about, and this is important, some of this success is cyclical. Some of this failure is cyclical for these teams. But for Grayson to come back after going 9-1 in the regular season and come back, and their 2 games this year, they've outscored their opponent 82-0. I mean, that is impressive. And Ed's an old friend of ours, and I'm really happy and proud for him because Grayson is a place where there's always been a lot of potential, but they've never really got on what I call a roll. Coach Smart has them on a roll, it looks like right now.
Yeah. Well, that's it for this week. For today's show, we'll be back at 2 o'clock Thursday to take a look at the weekend coming up, which features a huge game. We have Owensboro going into Owensboro Catholic. And really, honestly, for the first time in 2 or 3 years, this shapes up as one of those real classic games like we used to have 6 or 7 years ago.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm glad we don't have to make the predictions today because I have not decided on this game yet.
Well,
I'll
tell you what, it's going to be a tough one to pick. There's no question about that. John Edge has Catholic playing really well, and then we see Owensboro make that move in the second half.
That's right.
Where they were much more like what we expected.
No doubt about it.
But we will be back at 2 o'clock Thursday to talk about that game and talk about 5 others that we have coming up this weekend. So until then, goodbye.